In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can manage our storage space on the iPad with iPadOS 26. This is one of the first things that you'll want to do if you're having random issues with your iPad. You want to check the storage space. Essentially, the iPad, or I should say any computer, likes to have at least 10%, but I would recommend 20% free storage space. When you get below that, you can run into random issues. Now, if you find this video helpful, stick around to the end. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself and how you can help support my efforts in creating these videos. All right, let's take a look at how we can manage our storage space on the iPad. Let's go over to my iPad. Now, as I mentioned, if you're having random issues with the iPad, one of the first things you'll want to do is check your storage space. To do that, what we do is we go over to our Settings app. I tap on it. And then from here, what we need to do is we need to go over to General. Under General, what you're going to see is iPad storage. I tap on that. And now I can see my iPad storage. So what are we looking at here? Well, basically at the very top here, what we're looking at is a bar graph of all of our storage. We can see that most of my storage is being used up by apps. This is a demo iPad that I just used for a demo, so I don't have a lot of information on this. But if you had a lot of photos on there, you might see a yellow bar in there. If you have a lot of podcasts, you're going to see a green bar in there. So you can kind of see what is taking up your storage. In addition to that, you can also see how much storage you have, as well as how much you are using. So in this case here, I'm using 44 gigabyte out of 256 gigabyte. Like I said, what you want to do is you want to leave at least 10%, but I would recommend 20%. This is just a standard rule when working with computers. Could be a Mac, could be Windows, could be an iPad, could be the iPhone. They just like to have a little bit of what I call breathing room, about 10 to 20%. All right, so let's just say that you are using a lot of storage. What can you do? Well, the first thing is we have recommendations by Apple. Now, you might see more recommendations here. My recommendation here is to offload unused apps. So when I tap on Enable, what it's going to do is it's going to offload unused apps. So what is offload? Well, basically, if you haven't used that app in a while, it's going to delete the app. It's going to remove it from the iPad, but it is not going to delete the data. It's only going to remove the app, and you can easily download it again because it's still going to be on your home screen. It's just not taking up any information. More on that in a little bit because I'll tell you how you can offload apps manually as well. All right, so we have our recommendations. In my case, again, I just have one recommendation, but you might have more recommendations there. Another thing we can do is we can see what apps are taking up our space. So when we look here, you're going to see that I have Music, GarageBand, and iMovie. Those are the top 3 apps that are taking up space. And if we go over to the right, you can see how much space they're taking. So I can easily swipe up and see which apps are taking up all of my space. Now from here, what you're able to do is you're able to delete the data in some cases, as well as the app. So let's just go with Music here. I tap on it. And you're going to see that I'm able to offload the app. Again, more on that in a little bit. I can also delete the app. This is just going to delete the app. And then I can also delete the data. So it's going to delete the music on there. So the app is going to stay on there, but the data is not. So in this case with the Music app, I have a lot of different options. I'm going to go back. Let's take a look at GarageBand. This has taken up 181 gigabyte. I don't use GarageBand. Let's go and clear up some space. I tap on it. And then from here, I'm able to offload the app as well as delete the app. Now with this one, I can't delete any data. That's because I don't have any data. The app itself has taken up 181 gigabytes. So if I wanted to free up 181 gigabytes, I'd have to delete the app. So that's how we can see how much space an app is using, as well as delete the app as well as the data. Now let's take a closer look at these offloading apps. What is offloading an app? Well, basically when you offload an app, like I said earlier, what you're going to be doing is removing the app itself. So in this case here, GarageBand. I tap on that, and we can see that it is taking up 1.61 gigabytes. And if I wanted to delete the app, I tap on delete the app. It's going to remove the app as well as the data. And then if I wanted to offload it, I can tap on offload. So now let's take a closer look at this offload. What does that mean? Well, in this case here, what it will do is it will remove the app, the 1.61 gigabytes that we have up here. It's going to remove that 1.61 gigabytes. But what it will not remove is the data. So I have 46 kilobytes of data in here. It will not remove that. So it's not going to remove the data. It's only going to remove the app. So this works really well when you have large apps such as GarageBand. But if you have really small apps, it doesn't really do that much. Let's go ahead and offload an app. What we're going to do is we're going to offload Match Factory. This is a game. I don't play it, and it is taking up 604 megabytes. So what I want to do is I want to offload this. I don't play it, but maybe what I want to do is I want to play it at a later date. So I don't want to erase the data. This is where offloading apps comes into play. So now I just tap on Offload App, and what it's going to do is it's going to remove that app. It's going to offload it, but it's going to keep the data. So then when I re-download it again, it's going to have all of my games in there. So now it is offloaded. First thing we can do is we can reinstall the app directly from the Settings app. But in addition to that, what we're also able to do is reinstall it from our home screen. So I'm going to swipe up, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the app library, and this was called Match. So I'm going to swipe up here. You're going to see we have Match Factory. That's the one that I offloaded. So why is it on my iPad? Well, that's because it still has the data on there. So if I wanted to download this, all I have to do is just go over here to download, and it'll download it. So you're still going to see references to it on your home screen. But when you tap on it, instead of opening up, what it first needs to do is it needs to download it. And then it'll open up, and all of your data will be there. So that's what offloading an app does. It's another way of saving space. And if you look at some of the apps can get quite large. I'm going to go back over to my settings here, and you're going to see that some of these apps can get quite large. I didn't have any data in GarageBand or iMovie, and you can see that they're taking up quite a bit of space. So if you don't use those apps and you want to keep the data, you can offload those. So that's how we can manage our space on the iPad. Basically, we just have to go over to our settings, we go to General, and then we go over to iPad Storage. From there, you're able to see all of your apps categorized and how much space they're taken by category, such as photos or music. And then you can also see recommendations, and then you can also manually manage those apps. You can delete them all together, or you can offload them. So that's how we manage our space on the iPad. Now, if you found this video helpful, what you may want to do is like the video. You can subscribe to my channel. You can share it with your friends and family. In addition to that, what you may want to do is check out a couple of other options that I have. I have Dan's Tutorials and DansOnlineCourses.com. With Dan's Tutorials, not only do I have more videos, but I also have an AI assistant modeled after an Apple genius. This is a subscription site, and what I'll do when you become a subscriber or a member of the site, I'll take out all of the ads from the videos. You have access to that AI assistant. Now, if you don't like subscriptions, I also have a course site. With the course site, basically what you're doing is you're purchasing a course on a device, such as the iPhone or the iPad. Now, as of this recording, I don't have a course on the iPad, but this video, as well as several others, are going to be included in the iPad course. You can find out more about that over at DansOnlineCourses.com, and that is not a subscription site again. With both of these options, just know that you're helping support a small business. It is just me in a corner office of my house. I'm not part of some large organization. So when you become a member or purchase a course or do both, I do have people that do both, you are helping support my efforts in creating these videos. Check out danstutorials.com or dansonlinecourses.com for more information, and thanks for watching.